Welcome to the Keep the Faith podcast. I am your host, Tori. Thank you guys for joining this evening. And I have a very special guest with me this evening. And before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself. I have Mr. Damon Prince on. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
What's up, everybody? So, my name is Damian Prince. I'm a school teacher, 29 years old. I'm a preacher at my church. I love young people. Um, Big kid at heart. I'm a servant, and I'm single.
Really? You threw that part of
I thought that might throw some people off a little bit.
You single. You heard that, ladies.
Uh,
You single. So you
Big
said
single.
so let me ask you this question before we get into business at hand. You say you single. Do you have any children? Like before when we were talking backstage, you said the children. Do you have any children?
The children. So I don't have any birth kids, but there's two special mentees that I will never say they're not my sons around them because they will have a whole fit. So I do have two boys. I do have two boys, Nasir and Keyshawn. Yep,
Oh,
two boys.
okay.
Yep, yep.
And how long have you been teaching?
So this is my fifth year teaching. Started off in Lee County. I went to a private school. Last year, taught fourth grade at a private school, which I absolutely love. Temple Christian Academy. I always shout them out with Dr. Naomi Player, amazing principal, great woman. And this year, because of low enrollment in their higher school or higher grade levels, we're not there this year. And this year, we're at Sneed Middle School teaching financial literacy and citizenship to sixth, seventh, and eighth graders.
Oh, that's a great topic. Great
Yeah,
subject.
yeah.
Wow. So let me ask you this. Is teaching something you always wanted to do? Because we need
No,
good teachers.
no. I hate to say it, but I don't think I've ever. So here's the thing: I've always worked with kids. I've always worked with kids. I don't know why, but in middle school, high school, part-time jobs were um, working at a daycare, after-school program, summer daycare, and I started with Erin Lacey and Miss Fortune. We called her Cookie. They were just, I don't know, they were just positive influence in the way they love kids. And so when I went to college, I went to Morris and majored in English. And so once I got out of there, the dream was to be a lawyer. Wanted to be a president of a college at one time, but end up just English, and then we just got a job in Lee County, and I knew at that time, just like as a transitional phase for us, before we went to law school, and so got there, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. And so when I kind of like told my family, my mom and dad, that I think I want to teach, they were like, "We always knew it. You always had a passion for kids." I served as a youth pastor while I was in high school. And so I just always been passionate about young people, passionate about kids. And so in Lee County, and I know this is not the subject at hand, but it's my passion. So in Lee County, I was the only male that worked there, only male teacher. And so that's a very rural area. I mean, kids were in Mayfield and Maysville just playing outside with no shoes on in the country. Just and so for them to see another man that looks like them that was able to accomplish teaching and didn't have to have his pants to sag, things of that nature. It was a very, I think, a powerful thing for them, and for parents to see that. I think it was very powerful. Lee County just plays a huge and holds a huge spot in my heart. So that's my little soapbox moment for schools.
Cool. Jamel says hello.
What's up? What's up?
And Jamel is tagging Court. What's up, Jamel? Make sure you check Jamel out at the Greenleaf Cafe in
That's
D-Town.
right.
Now
Right.
listen, the reason why we are here.
Ah,
Listen, the word on the street is that you are going to be the next mayor of Darlington.
we're going to be. We're going to be. We're running hard. We're running hard for it. We're running hard for this position. We're not running hard for the title, but we're running hard for the position. That way we can make impactful change. And I've always said it that that's our number one goal, to make change that is impactful, that is necessary for this time within our city. Yeah. So we're running hard for this position.
And Dory McAllister says, hello.
All right, all
Now,
right.
and let me ask you this question. What sets you apart? What sell yourself? What makes you think that you are the best candidate for the job? Now is your opportunity to get those
Okay.
votes.
That listen, this is a powerful question right here. This is so what set me apart is that I'm fresh and that I'm willing and that I'm not one-sided. And so I know a lot of people look at this race that is black and white, and that's not the ideal here. That's not the goal to just be a black and white thing. This is a community thing, and we need somebody that's going to impact our community in a positive way that has the heart for the people, not just people that look like them, people that have the same amount of money that they have. We need somebody that's going to come in and that's not scared of changing the status quo. You know what I mean? And so I'm willing, I'm not fearful, I'm not intimidated, I'm not scared. I'm willing because and you know what? This is so much larger than now. This is about the future. And so we need to think on those terms. We are running to impact the citizens that live in Darlington now and the citizens that are to come that's going to live in our great city. And so we see and we hear and we know of what this administration has done. Our big thing is we're not trying to downplay them. We're not trying to talk bad about them. We're not trying to criticize them. Because if you get so busy looking at what they've done wrong, you won't be able to do anything right. That's just my philosophy. And so we're just working towards the future, building a better Darlington, a brighter Darlington, and building a Darlington where people can come and be proud to say, you know what, I grew up in Darlington. My family from Darlington. Not that, oh, I grew up and I want to run away, I want to get away. We want to have something in place for Darlington that people can be proud of and that people want to say or they live off and they want to come and be like, you know what, I want to make Darlington home forever. And so to do something like that, to be a part of something like that, that's our goal, you know. And so we know we have a water issue. We know that some things are going on that it's not supposed to be going on. And we want to tackle those because, our water bill is just way too high. Our infrastructure is going south. We know those things, we see those things, but we just can't stop there. There has to be more. We have to get this crime rate down. We have to put things in position for not things but opportunities in position for our children, senior citizens. We need a trade program to help those homeless people. We need a transitional housing to help those homeless people that live here in Darlington. That way we just can't say, oh, look at those homeless people. Let's change that statistic in Darlington, you know, and we got the power to do it. We have the resources to do it. And now is the time. So we need a leader that's not just going to be one-sided, that's not trying to make their pockets fat, that's not trying to hire their friends and pay them a lump sum, a huge lump sum of money. But we need somebody that says, you know what, I care about the citizens of Darlington. Before I make a decision, before I vote on something on city council, let me go to these persons. Let me see how it's going to affect them. Let me see how this ideal or this vote that I cast, how is it going to affect them? What do they think about it? Is it beneficial or is it not beneficial? So we try something else. Seven people that sit on council does not have the answer for 6,000 people. You know,
Mm.
we can give our input, we can give what we think, but it's not until we go out and hit the streets and ask them, you put me in this position, you elected me. Now tell me what you think. What's your ideals? What's your thoughts? How can we be better? How can we make Darlington better? And so that's where we are. That's our position. That's what we hope to do.
And let me show you this comment. This is from Miss Tony. She said, "We need some more more your signs on for Lawson Road."
Okay, Miss Tony, I'll make sure we make it happen.
And I'm glad that you said the fact that it's not a black or white issue. It's
Yeah.
about who's actually going to be to do the job effectively. And also, you said earlier, you said the part about you want people to be glad to say that they're from Darlington, because as you know, there has been a lot of crime in
Mm,
Darlington, and there's some
yeah.
people like that they don't want to say they're from Darlington. They
Right.
don't
Right.
want to say, they don't want to, partake in things that's going on in Darlington. What do you say to those people? What are some of the things that you can implement and put into place so that people will be proud to be from Darlington? Because I am from Darlington, born and raised,
Mhm.
male golden bear, and I understand it's Darlington Falcons homecoming. So shout out to them. But what are some of the things that you can implement, or so people be proud to be, say I'm from Darlington?
So let's start at the crime thing.
Okay.
Darlington has our police chief is trying to do everything he can within his power to make sure that um, the city is safe. Where there's a lack of something, that means something else is going to increase. So where there's a lack of teachers, that means testing scores are going to plummet down, and that's going to be an increase in low test scores. And so where there's a lack of police officers, that means there's going to be an increase in crime rate because you just don't have the police officers to patrol the streets in what we would consider high crime areas, right? And so the city of Darlington, last I checked, was just a few weeks ago, has 8 police officers positions available in the city of Darlington. And 8 may seem as if it's a small number, but in a city like this, it's a significant amount of police officers that we lack. And the police officers that we currently have, they are trying and doing the best they can with what they have, right? And so in order to recruit and keep the police officers that we do have, we have to have a a salary. I was trying to think of a good word, a salary that they can live off of. You know what I mean? These are our first responders. These are persons that put their life on the risk citizens, regular everyday citizens. And so we have to have something there that can sustain them. And once we're able to sustain them, we can pay them an adequate enough pay. Once we're able to sustain and pay them an adequate enough amount of pay, we can have programs in place where like I said, I'm a teacher. I'm a forever student. And I feel like to be the best at what you're in your profession, you're constantly learning. So that means we have to constantly make sure they're going to every training that they can, every convention, state convention they can to learn more, to be better. That's what it takes. So that's
Okay.
that's that's one tier of that question. And the second tier is in order for this crime rate to go down, we have to have things in place for our children, right? We grew up hearing the saying that a mind is a terrible thing to waste. An idle mind is the devil's workshop. And so that's the same thing for our community. If we don't have anything in place for our children, they're going to do whatever the streets has there available for them. And so we need to have resources. I've been saying this before I start to run. If I can find a building, but we know all the buildings are being bought up. We'll leave that alone, though. If I could find a building to open a community center, I will leave the classroom today. I would just tell my principal I got to go. We need programs in place that can help our young people and to teach them something or get something in place that will keep their attention. So agriculture, teaching them how to grow their own food, how to raise their own food, agriculture programs, which there's a plethora of grants right now for anybody to apply and get that type of money. Um, Trade programs, welding, how to work on cars, how to be a barber, how to work on plumbing, HVAC systems. And we can teach them this at a young age. And then when they're older, they can go off and be entrepreneurs and bring other great things to the city. Not only that, but STEM programs, math, science, technology, all that good stuff. We need all these type of programs in our city. That way we can teach our young people something, keep them off the streets. And if that means that this is a 6-day a week program, after school, y'all come to our building. We'll provide the snacks. And if your parents don't have the resources to give you dinner, we can fix dinner for you that night. And even Saturday mornings, you don't got to go nowhere. We'll take care of you Saturday mornings till noon, teach them different things. So we got to have programs in place. And then we cannot be scared of welcoming new businesses, thriving businesses that can bring in the city revenue. I was passing through Toronto. I went there for NAACP banquet a couple of weeks ago. Little Chirral, has just built a nice Marriott hotel. If Chirral can have something like that, why can't Darlington? And so these are the things, once we get businesses in place, thriving businesses that can pull people out, to make our revenue go up in the city, we can build other infrastructures, bring other businesses, maybe even a plant to the city. These are things that will allow people to be like, you know what? I remember Darlington in such and such year, and it looked like it was going down. But now there's things, there's programs and positions, there's new restaurants here, and it's starting to thrive. And so we just want to put those type of positions in place. And then again, like I said, we don't know it all. So maybe there's a citizen that says, you know what, Damien, what if you guys did this? Can you mention this to the city council or the council persons, this ideal? And so as a team, we can come up with a strong plan that will benefit the entire city. So
Now
I
let
hope
me
that
ask
answered your question.
You did. So let me ask you this question. What do you say to people that don't feel as if these type of elections are important? Because some people
Yes.
don't come out, they don't come out and vote until it's a presidential election. But explain why these elections are so important. And before you answer that question, let me show a few comments before I forget, because they flowing a little fast.
Uh-oh, uh-oh.
Miss Tony says something going on with the people buying these buildings. She said a trade. Miss Tony also says, sign me up to help with these programs for youth. Miss Tony also says we had a tech campus, but it wasn't developed. And then
Mm,
she says she's also brainstorming as well. So I want to make sure I spotlight those comments. But back to the
right.
question, why are these elections so important as opposed to just voting for presidential elections?
So this has been the largest um, teacher, right? I said I'm a teacher before. And so when I go out, I try to educate persons that local elections are imperative, important. I would say that they're probably more important than the presidential election because what affects us comes from the local. So who you put in the mayor, who you elect as your council persons, who you put on school boards, because people don't know this, but the school board has the power to raise certain taxes. They have the power to teach your children certain things. Who you put in as senator, who you put in the House of Representatives that will represent your area, your congressperson, and even to the governor. All these elections affect us immensely. And so the president election is fine and dandy. But I tell persons when it comes to local elections, this is what's going to affect you the most because they're making decisions. And so where they lack, that means somebody else takes that point for them. So where we lack in the knowledge of, oh, I didn't know this. I didn't know that these persons had so much power to make these decisions for me. Whether you vote and they not win, or if you just don't get out and vote and they win, it affects us so much. And so I tell persons, especially in Darlington, if you get out and just talk, let people know that, oh, we see what you're doing. It's affecting us what you do. Because what I've heard in conversations, I ain't telling you something that somebody came and told me. I heard this from, as my grandma would say, the horse's mouth. Is that, oh, they don't come out. They don't know what we're doing. And they're telling the truth. So what we need to be more involved in what goes on in our local government and the NAACP. I serve as the second vice president for the Darlington branch of the NAACP. And you can count on two hands how many people come out. But so many people have complaints. When we go
Mm.
to, and this is not race, I'm not saying race, I'm just calling facts. When we go to the city council meetings, you can count how many black people you have there on one hand. We have to be more involved. Darlington is 67% African American. The city of Darlington is 67% African American. If we can come together and be on one accord, we will be and know what power we have with our voice. We would be a force to be reckoned with.
Mm.
A
Woo.
force to be reckoned with. If we could come together and see, this means, I hate to go here, but I'm gonna go here for. We got to let petty and childish stuff go. Oh, they didn't speak to me in the store, and this is, a lot of older people are petty people. I've never seen nothing like it in all my life. I thought young people were petty. But you got these senior citizens that hold stuff from 1987. Ma'am, auntie, auntie, let this go. We're trying to make some things happen. I don't like her. I don't like him. Ma'am, we ain't got time for that. And I've never seen it. But other cultures, other communities can stick together. They will not like the other person. They will talk about the other person like they're trash. But when it's time to come out and vote, they're going to vote for that person they just were dogging. Black people, I'm sorry. I hope that's okay to say.
You
Black
fine.
people, Black people are the most divided set of people I've ever witnessed. I've ever in my life witnessed. And it's the saddest thing to say, but it's the truth. But if we can move past small, petty, grimy stuff and realize that there's a bigger cause. I may not like you, but I understand your heart. I may not like you, but I understand the way you think. And that's why I'm gonna go with you. That's fine, but anyway, I didn't mean to go all that way, but
No, that's good. That's facts. Let me go through some of the comments. Dory McAllister says we have to continue to educate our communities about the importance of these types of elections because these will affect you more.
very much
And
so.
he said agreed. He said agreed with what you were saying. Miss Tony says local candidates go on to run for higher positions. So it starts with the local election.
Miss
That is
Miss
so
Tony prophesying because she might be looking at my future right now. That's all right, Miss Tony.
And Miss Tony also says, when is the NAACP meeting? I guess when you guys have, how often do you guys meet and when is the
We-
next meeting?
Sure, we meet the last Tuesday of every month, and we meet at the Elks in Darlington. And it's $35 to start, but don't let that $35 hold you back. If I got to pay somebody $35, I don't mind doing it. And then we have a great youth program with an awesome young man. He's a junior in high school, Sean Odom, who is kind of helping and kind of running the youth program, and he is highly involved. I mean, if Sean was older, I'm sure Sean probably would have ran for mayor of Darlington. He's a great young guy, and so to be a part, your young kids or your young people to be a part of that program, it's nothing but $10. And so, like I said, so it's imperative get your grandkids out, get your great nieces, your nephews out, and bring them, and don't let money be an issue. I don't mind. There's plenty of sponsors that will sponsor getting people involved because it's needed.
And Miss Tony also says, she said, glory, hallelujah, old school petty.
Old school petty. It's sickening, y'all. It's sickening. I
It
ain't never
really
seen that like
is.
that in my life.
It really is.
So,
And she also says they show up to vote for their people.
very true.
And she said it's a bigger cause.
Yeah,
And Miss Tony says, I'm on your team and you didn't even know it, kind sir.
that's very true. I appreciate you, Miss Tony.
And Miss Tony says she's coming. Now, here was
Awesome.
one of the questions that I wanted to ask. Okay. And I'm in my late 40s now, but when I was young enough, of course, when you arrive to the age of 18, you're able to vote.
Mhm.
And I will be transparent to say, when I had my 18th birthday in college, like there was a friend of mine, she was excited about, I'm going to vote. I turned, because we were like 4 days apart.
Mhm.
And she's like, I'm excited to vote. And I'm like, I was one of those people, ignorant. When you don't know, you don't know. But I was
Mhm.
ignorant. I was one of those people that say my vote don't matter. And do you know how many people
Mhm.
say that? There are so many votes lost because of our ignorance. So what do you say to those people, the young adults especially that are turning 8? Matter of fact, my son will be 18 in 2 days.
Mm.
And I made sure that he became a registered voter. I
Awesome.
made sure I educated him and he would not be ignorant how I was. So he'll be
Mhm.
voting for the very first time this election. I made sure
Oh.
he met that deadline and he became a registered voter. But what do you say to those people that have that mindset? Because, like I said, I was there because I
Mhm.
could have voted. I missed on an opportunity. I think back then I could have voted for President Clinton, I think. And I missed an opportunity to vote in those, elections when I turned 18. I don't think I became a registered voter, and I'm embarrassed to be saying this, but I don't think I became a registered voter until the age of probably 25, maybe. I think I was 25, 26. So look at all the years that I did not vote because I'm
Right.
saying to myself, my vote doesn't count. So what do you say to those people that feel as though their vote does not matter, their vote does not count? What would you
Yeah.
say to them to encourage them to get out to vote?
All right. I would tell them that they're more powerful than they think. That would be my number one thing. You are more powerful than you think you are, because we realize, and it's very common in communities where we all look alike. When we were out, I can't remember the neighborhood, but I met a lady who was 67. Maybe she was 63. She said, "I've never voted a day of my life," because she said, "I didn't think that I needed to. She said, I don't see the purpose," was her words verbatim. People have died for this right. People was lynched for this right. People were hung for this right. Houses were burned down for this right. And because lives were given, it's the least we can do is go and exercise this right that we now have. That one vote makes you so powerful. And it may seem simple, but it's so profound. Your one vote makes such an impact in the community. And it can be your one vote that changes the dynamic. One vote I can miss and I can lose this election. When I tell people, and I can't speak for national elections, I can only speak for this election where Damien's in. Give me your vote, give me a chance, and watch what your vote can do.
Mm,
Your vote is powerful. If you just give me that vote and give me that chance, I promise not to let you down. And I don't make promises. I think that's a song. I'll never make a promise that I can't keep.
hmm.
That's me. I'll never make a promise that I can't keep. And I promise that I'm gonna do the very best to make impactful change. That's all I can tell people. I know it's like, that might be a sorry answer, but it's my heart, and I hope people can hear my heart in this. Give me a chance to make you proud. Give me a chance to show you what your vote can do.
Right. And I'm going to show a few comments. Miss Tony says the young voters are the key to our future.
Very much so.
She also says the right to vote is powerful. And then she's also said, I trust you with my vote.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me mention this. Now, in our campaigning and canvassing, and all canvassing is just knocking door to door, telling people what we're trying to do, who we are. We registered over 250 young people,
Wow.
and that's from the age of 35 to 18. We were in those, what some call the projects or some call the hood. We were in there knocking on doors. And I think what excited young people or my peers, I'm only 29, what excited our peers were to see somebody their age that's trying to do something.
Wow.
And so we met people and they were like, "Oh, you born in 94? I was born in 92. I was born in 90. Bro, you really doing something." And we're not running to be praised. Somebody told us just a couple of weeks ago, you'd be the first black man and you'd be the youngest mayor that Darlington's ever had. And I tell you, I never thought in my mind to research anything like that. I just saw that change needed to happen and I wanted to be a part of that change. And so to see young people, to hear young people say that, it's an encouragement, especially not to let them down, because young people will dog you.
You just think they
young,
won't.
young people will drag you and talk bad about you, and they don't care. They will put it on social media. So first off, I'm scared of something like that. My name, all I got. First off, and secondly, we want to be an example. That's all. And Damian can do it. And Damian, I've had a rough life, really rough. So if I can achieve something like this, I know somebody else younger than me, same age as me, they can do it as well. And so that's one of the key things that we're very proud of, that we were able to register that many young people that are excited. I mean, one girl, her family's from Jamaica. She's a citizen here. She was born here. And she had to, I think she's like 18, 19, maybe 20. And she was just like, I'm so excited. I mean, can I go vote? And we registered one day. The next day she texts me, can I go vote today? I'm like, no, baby, you gotta you gotta wait a little while. You gotta wait a little while before you can vote. But it makes us so happy. And I mean, her little brother was there, her boyfriend was riding on his bike, and she's like, get off that bike and come register right now. And so those things, and even calling the voters registration office, we were talking to one lady, and we were just, I can't remember what exactly we were doing, but Miss Karen at the voters registration office was like, dog. She didn't say dog. She said, dang. I try not to say that word. She said, dang, Damien, how many more do you have? How many more ballots are you calling in? And I was like, Miss Karen, I got about 15 more people. And so for a voters registration office to be like, now, wait a minute, you're doing a whole lot. It excites us that young people are excited. So I'm really excited that we were able to do that, get that many people registered.
That's good. And Miss Tony says, we turn the voter registration link into a QR code and we are registering people in Darlington.
Awesome. Yes, ma'am.
And
Yes,
then
ma'am.
she also says, this is going to be an exciting election.
Ooh, I don't know whether to cry or to jump around and be happy. You know, I get chills and then my stomach's in knots. And so I'm just like, I'm excited but nervous at the same time, you know. And some people have reached out to me and been like, "Now, Damien, one of your opponents has signs galore. I mean, signs everywhere. And if you ride in Darlington, you're gonna see his face everywhere." And to me, it's a fear factor. I don't know.
Well,
It's like
share,
it's like
what? I'm glad you said that. Share it, because I had to watch the replay of your live that you did prior to this interview. Share what you said on your live about the child that said to you, because you know how to use the word
oh,
the cheering.
cheering. I mean, if you ever want to get me, bring a child around. If you ever, I mean, that's the biggest way to get money out of my pockets. I mean, I take money to school because I know children gonna ask me for money. Mr. Prince, let me have $5. Mr. Prince, let me have $2. Let me go sneak in the teacher's lounge so I get some snacks. As long as you don't get caught, I don't care. Hurry up and go bring me a bag of popcorn too. So kids do it to my heart. And so I was Monday. One of my coworkers had bought me some rugs for my classrooms. I went to his car to help him get it out. And so a little kid is sitting on the bench in the foyer, and he's like, "Oh, Mr. Prince, like, hey, what's up?" I ain't know the boy from nobody because I haven't had him in my class. And he was like, "You the mayor of Darlington yet?" And I was like, "Not yet." I said, "Hopefully soon." I was like, "You don't live in Darlington because you come to Sneed." And he was like, "No, my grandma live in Darlington though." And then this fella, and he has to be an eighth grader, maybe seventh grade. And he says to me, Mr. Prince, don't be scared of all them signs. Don't be intimidated. You got this. Oh, boy, if you don't get away from me, I'm about to punch you in your chest. Move, get away from me, little boy. Get away from me. Because, I mean, God will always send a witness to just give you what you need right when you need it. And sometimes it can be very overwhelming. Am I doing enough? And people say they want to see me, and I'm trying everything I can do, knocking on the doors I can, and somebody saying this not enough, and this and that and that and this. But out of the mouth of babes. So it was just like, you know what? This is what I needed. It was on time. And like I said, we see his posters, banners, all the time. I was sitting in the meeting last night, and there were like two huge trucks that had these banners on the back of the trucks. And they were riding in the city. And so to me, it just says he's scared, because somebody told me his last election, he did not do this much. There was not this many signs. And so I can't say anything to that fact other than we giving this all we got. And so he can spend all his money. That's his money. I don't care nothing about that. It's not intimidating me. It just shows me and tells me you're doing something right, boy. You're doing
Yes.
something right. Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
how many days do we have? Oh, I was going to ask this question. I think it started already, but when did early voting start?
Yeah, awesome question. Early voting started yesterday. So you
Okay.
can go to the voters registration office off Cashua Street, and that's right off the square. You can go there and put your ballot in, vote early, and then once you do that, text a brother so I can check you off on my list. So I'm trying to keep my numbers. I'm trying to keep my numbers because and I ain't talking about nobody, but some people do some shady things. You know what I mean? And so we
Right.
just want to be strategic and just have our numbers together. That way we can say, now, wait a minute. What you saying and what we got, as my students would say, this math not mathing. So
The math ain't math.
this math ain't mathing. So
So let me
do me
ask you
that
this
favor.
question. What is the difference? Because I've been asked this question because like what is the difference between early voting and actually voting the day of the election? The reason why I asked that question because there are some people that are skeptical of voting early because they feel as
Hmm.
though if they vote early that their vote may possibly get lost because just like you said, shady stuff goes on.
Right, right,
So
right.
what can you do to assure people that don't feel comfortable with the early voting, just waiting to the day of? What is it? I mean, is there one outweighing the other? Now, like I said, my son will be 18 on October 26th,
Okay, okay.
and he is excited to vote for the first time. So I asked
Mhm.
him, did he want to early vote? He said, no, I want to vote the day of. So he want to vote November 7th.
And that
but
makes
with
our
but
heart so happy because young people are just so everything to a minimum for them. They like to do the least they can is how we get them. And so what I will say, there's really no difference between early voting and just going out to the polls. And to make reference back to what I said a few moments ago, just let us know if you decide to do early voting. You can always inbox me. You can always text me 910-7802 and just say, I voted. I voted for you. Don't tell me if you voted and you ain't vote for me because I don't care. But
right.
if you voted and you voted for me, let me know. That way we can keep our numbers, because as awful as it seems, some people are just not honest people at all. And so somebody told me that same thing. An older lady who lives on my street said, I'm not going to no early vote, and I'm gonna go vote the day of the election. And so we have our poll workers working, and they already are informed on what to do,
Mm-hmm.
and we're producing their sheets on how they need to go about it. So one or the other, and we've been doing a whole lot of absentee voting as well, and so keeping records of that. So the difference between absentee voting and regular voting is that everything comes to your home. You get your absentee ballot request. Once that request is signed and mailed back in, and what we've been doing, um, some donors have supplied envelopes and stamps. And so our campaign workers are going to pick it up for you, mail it in for you, and you won't have to worry about that because young people, young people probably don't even know what a stamp is, which is terrible to say, but it might be true. And then your ballot will come in the mail and you'll do the same thing, mail it back in. And so a lot of younger people who we got registered, they have chosen themselves after like asking questions. They have chose themselves to go with the absentee route and just to mail their ballots in, their votes in. And that's another great way where we're able to keep track of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me go through a few more comments because
Okay.
listen, you see what he said, you see what it says on the screen, next mayor of Darlington.
We got to
So
speak those things.
listen, so I need you guys to make sure you get out and vote. because the next mayor, I'm speaking to the next mayor of
Right,
Darlington.
right.
So let
Personal
me
relationship with them.
and let me show Miss Tony says, I love the kids. I don't know if you saw that comment. And then when I think just so people know, if you decide to early vote, the
Mhm.
voter registration office is right in front of Keontae's Wings and Things in Darlington. It's right across the street. And Miss Tony says she said, I'm going tomorrow. Okay, Miss
Let me write Miss Tony name down right now.
Tony. And then she said, we encourage our college kids to vote absentee
Mm.
ballot.
Uh,
And Miss Tony also says we need more people to work the polls.
right, right, right.
So
And
the
so
early, go ahead. I'm sorry.
to follow up on this last comment, if I may, that is highly important. We need poll workers that will, and that can be a full day's job just to sit there and work those polls. That way, we have an adequate count of who's voting, and you can use your guesstimation of who's voting for what party, who's voting for another party. And so, if you want to be a part of our team that's working for polls, there's some perks and benefits for working for Prince on the polls. Um, just reach out to us. Put my number out there. You can watch the replay, or you can add me on Facebook. I certainly don't mind talking to you and inviting you out to our secret meetings that they claim we're having. So I'll invite you to a secret meeting, and you can find out the secrets.
Well, this has been a pleasure. It has been such an
Oh
amazing
my.
interview. Now, what are some of your final thoughts to encourage people to, like I told you before, y'all, this is a side note. We talked about this offline, but
Mhm.
Mr. Prince, you see how I done dropped a little low, right? My chair done dropped. I was sitting
I wasn't
early.
gonna say nothing, but you're doing a
Listen,
lean with it, rock with it over there.
but what are some of your final thoughts to encourage people to get out and vote and to actually, to encourage them to vote for you?
Okay. So thanks for this opportunity, sincerely. And so I will say again, I think Angela, Nikki Matt Raven has a powerful slogan, and I kind of wish I would have thought of it first. I'm playing, I'm playing. But it's a very powerful slogan. Your vote, your voice, your Darlington. Your voice, your vote, your Darlington. And how profound that is. It's your voice, it's your vote. And I probably would have said it's our Darlington. It's your Darlington. And this is what we have to do. We have to use our voice. We have to cast our vote. That way we can be proud of our Darlington. And so like I said earlier, I would just tell people, give us a chance. Let us prove to you, because that old saying says actions can speak louder than words. And I'll tell you what, the actions that I put in place will produce loud words, words that you cannot miss. And so I always tell persons, I don't know it all. That's just the honest truth. But with your help and your support, we can make some great things happen in the city of Darlington. Now, I won't say what I was going to say. Perhaps other opponents are coming by your house and telling you all this, but ask yourself this question: when was the last time you saw them before this? Okay. If they're elected, will you see them in another 4 years when they need your support again? I live right here, what will some would consider the hood. I love where I
Mm-hmm.
live. You can't
Mm-hmm.
pull me out of where I live. I
Mm-hmm.
love my neighbors. I love the kids. I love that they know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, give me a chance. Let me prove my worth to you. Let me show you what impact we can make. And I would say I can't do all this by myself. It's all about the persons that we elect in positions in this election, put in positions. So yeah, like I said, you have 4 city council seats available, right? You have the mayor's position, then you have 3 at-large seats. Nikki McRaven is running for at-large seat. Albert Johnson, Gloria Hines is running for at-large seat. And I would just say, get people that's like-minded that can put things in place that will benefit and not affect us, that will benefit us in an impactful way and not affect us in a negative way. So that's my spiel. Hopefully, I have your support. I'm an open book. And if you're free, tomorrow night, I'll be on a podcast with Mr. Jamel tomorrow, and listen to that conversation. We'll be talking some good things. I know he's going to have some questions, just like you, that's
Listen,
going to pick
listen.
pick my brain and make me think.
Let me tell you something, Jamel. Listen, Jamel and the boys, they probably gonna have some rich. See, I told you, I said, I don't know what I'm gonna ask you. Jamel, listen, Jamel probably wrote out a list of questions.
Yeah. I got when I hang up with you, I got to go study, make sure I know what I know.
Jamel gonna have a list of questions. Oh my God. So make sure you guys watch Jamel podcast, Real Talk 360 tomorrow, 119 Media Group. Make sure you watch Jamel because Mr. Prince will be on there tomorrow. And like he said, and then I'm gonna put this other comment. Miss Tony says we should put a sign in Keontae's window. Sounds like a plan.
Miss Tony, I could have you working on my campaign from the beginning because you've been on top of it. You've been on top of it.
And Miss Tony says she'll be tuning in tomorrow. So make sure you guys matter of fact, now tomorrow I got to see what time Jamel coming on now. Tomorrow I'm gonna be in church. That my Bible study day. So if I don't catch it live, I'm definitely gonna be watching the replay. But if he started by 8:30, I may catch some of it because I have church at 7:00. So I'm be in church tomorrow. But I would definitely be.
I've been missing so much. I miss being in church. You know, you don't get to go to your church at everybody else's church, and ain't no place like home. And we in church anniversary this week, and I done called my pastor until I ain't gonna be there. And so, you know, I hope I win because if not, I'll probably get sat down for not being in place.
Not sat down.
Sat down, you know, you get sat down for 60 days where I'm at, you know.
listen, I know how that is. And also I wanted another thing that that you said on your live. Talk about the experience, and then we're gonna wrap it up because I know I don't took enough of your time. But talk about the experience yesterday. I thought that was so cool how you actually had I think you said you got two young men haircut yesterday, and actually Mr. Ketter came in on his day off to cut hair.
Right. So huge shout out to Brandon. This is we were canvassing, and again, kids are just my heart. And I saw two fellas that hair. I asked the mom first, are they growing their hair out to be braided? And she said, oh no, they just ain't got no haircut. And I just didn't force everything at her at one time. And so we talked about a little bit more, and I circled back around to that haircut. Well, are you comfortable with me taking them to get their haircut? And she's like, well, I got 4 boys. I'm like, I don't care. I don't mind. I said, you're not paying for it. I'll take care of it. And she looked at me in disbelief. And I said this last night, I think. The cuts were not to gain her votes. I think I had her support regardless. The cuts were because before I was adopted by the great family that adopted me, there was a man that came and said to my grandmother or my birth mother the short time that she had me, let me take Damien to get his haircut. And I remember that to this day. I don't know why, but it was those impactful moments that just changed my life and made me better, because it could have been me sagging my pants out there, selling dope with a gun. That was supposed to be me. It was literally supposed to be who I was. But because some people came and took me up under their wings and said, let me show you the rope. Let me take you to get your hair cut. And those conversations in between the rides or while at the barbershop, it played a role in who I am today. So it wasn't much for me to do that. And I told her she don't got to worry about the haircuts no more. When they need a haircut, call me. I'll take them right there to Brandon. I'll pay for their haircuts every time, because it's what we do. That saying, it takes a village, seemed like it has just disappeared. And it's almost like every man for themselves, but it can't be. We have to get back to the place where we are sticking together. I got your back, you got my back. If something happens where we disagree in, we're not falling out. I'm not going to get a gun to shoot you. We can be a mature adults to say, you know what? Let's just agree to disagree. One of my friends, we've never had a falling out until quite recently. And I mean, it was over something, probably the dumbest thing you could ever imagine. But I took pride that he and I have never had a falling out. Now, did we agree with everything that each other did or everything said? No. Who are you going to agree with in everything? The longest married couples, my adopted grandmother and grandfather were married 70 years, and they will fuss like cat and dogs. But at the end of the day, Mama had Papa back and Papa had Mama back, and that was that. And so we have to get back to that place where I don't know. And maybe I'm childish or immature for thinking that it can go back to that, or maybe I have some glimpse of hope that we can go back to that place that it's about the community, it's about the village. So, and you know what? To this day, at this very moment, I couldn't tell you those boys' names if I wanted to, because I didn't catch their names. I saw a need, I helped out the need, and I'm willing to do it again. So that's where we are. That's just I hope that nothing will come in my life that will make me change what I try to pride myself on. And I know we got to go for real.
You're
What I
fine.
try to pride myself on is always being the same. My daddy would say God loves a disciplined disciple. I never want to be to a place where people don't know how to take me. I never want people to think, oh, I don't know if Damien gonna be mad, angry, if he gonna give me a look, if he gonna act fake with me. I never want people to think that way of me. Now, I'm not saying I don't have those emotions because I'm human, but I never wanted to overtake me where people can never approach me. Even my boys, I try to teach them, I don't care how upset you are with me or how upset I am with you, we should always be able to talk to each other. That's what I try to tell my sons. No matter what, we should be able to. I may want to knock the lips off your face, but at the end of the day, you should be able to come and tell me anything. I should take a moment to get my thoughts together, then react. We set up a plan, we move forward. No love lost. And that's where we have to get back to in our community. I don't like what you, and the key thing is communication, being able to say, now, Miss Williams, I ain't like the way you did that. I ain't got no problem with you personally, but what you did, I did not care for it. And you should be able to say whatever you want to say to me. And as mature adults, we should be able to move on. And that'll be the end of that. And not, oh, call your neighbor, call your friend and tell them what we just talked about and see how they feel and let that add on to it. That ain't Damien. And I don't ever want that to be who I am. So I saw a need, I fulfilled the need. So I hope when I do have birth kids and God forbid if something happens to me or if I'm in a place where somebody can help my boys or help my kids, they can say, okay, I can help your children with no strings attached. So that's that.
That's good. I'm gonna show you these last two comments and then we're gonna wrap it. That was good. That was powerful what you just said. Miss Tony says resource plus need equals ministry.
That's right.
And
Wholeheartedly.
she also says true communication, resolve, and it's over.
And it's over. And it's over. Done with. Finished. Not being petty and still holding on to it. I can't get over that. But I,
Listen, I gotta bring you back. We're gonna have a whole podcast on being petty.
old and petty. Old and petty at that. Now that's a topic I'll talk about. Old and petty. The raggedy runs.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. And
Pleasure
like I
was
said,
mine.
anytime you need me, I'm just a phone call away. Just
Right.
reach out to me. So what I need you guys to do, make sure you share this podcast, and I'm gonna re-air it as well. As we get I'm going to schedule for this to be air as we get closer and closer to the election, the actual election day. Early voting is taking place now, but
Mhm.
the actual day of voting is November the 7th. So make sure you get out to vote. Don't just say you vote and you didn't vote. Just know that if you don't vote, you can't say nothing.
Not a thing. Especially don't say nothing to me. I'm gonna be in my feelings.
And also do this when you repeat the names, the mayor, repeat the 4 seats that are at large.
So sure. So you have the mayor's position, which myself, Curtis, and Scott Pruitt is running for. Curtis Boyd and Scott Pruitt are running for. Then you have 3 at-large seats. Gloria Hines is running for at-large seat. Albert Johnson and Nikki McRaven is running for at-large seat. And you have Brian Gardner, Howard Nettles, and the shoe guard guy. I can't think of his first name. And so we're just asking you to use the spirit of discernment, do your homework, see what person is right for you. And here's our prayer of maturity. Lord, put who you want to have in place. I hope it's me. I pray it's me. But our biggest prayer was, Lord, put who you have in place. So, and if I will say this, Thursday night, if you're free, we'll be at Scare on the Square from 4:30 to 6 o'clock, I think. And if you want a t-shirt, hit me up. Make sure we get you a t-shirt. So all of us can be out there in our little white shirts. And so we can, and that'll be a great opportunity to meet some more of the community, put a face with the name. And that's just been our biggest feedback. Oh, we know the name. They can tell you everything about me. But when it comes to seeing the face, everybody wants to see the face. So
that's what's up. I'm looking forward. And oh, never mind. I was about to say something, but I'm gonna say that off the air because I was about to say a little bit too much. So I'm remind me, say Tori, I'm gonna put a pin in it. Say Tori, tell me what you was about to say just now. I was about to say the wrong thing. But anyway, make sure you guys get out to vote. I'm talking to the next mayor of Darlington, Mr. Damain Prince. So make sure you guys get out. Make sure your voice is heard. Too many people died for us to have this right. So please get out and vote. Matter of fact, I do poetry and I wrote a poem about voting. I'm gonna see if I could look in my poetry book, see where I put that, because I may have to post that on my social media. So people know just how important it is to vote. Right. And don't just, because like I said, you don't have a voice if you don't vote.
That's very true.
Matter of fact, Miss Tony, I'm gonna set it up. Just look, Miss Tony said, I want a shirt. Miss Tony, we gonna get you right. We gonna get you right. We gonna get you right,
Miss Tony.
But thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys share the podcast. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to get out and vote. The time is now. Like TDJ says, get ready. Get ready. All right, you guys, and Mr. Pierce, hang on for a second. I'm gonna talk to you a few minutes after we log off. But guys, thank you so much for watching. If you missed the beginning, make sure you hit that replay button. And like I said, I'm going to re-air this podcast as well. And as I always say at the end of each podcast, in this thing called life, there's going to be obstacles and things that come our way. But you may bend, but don't you dare break. And always remember to keep the faith. We out. Peace out, y'all. Y'all have a great evening.